Hello, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you guys are in the world, and welcome to Vortex Racing League Tier 2 here in Bahrain. I am your host, as always, GameHawk here for this incredible race. And it looks like we're already going to be a step up, because this time we actually have 8 drivers now as we continue to get more and more drivers into this new league and tier. And I'm curious to see how this race will turn out. And I'm curious to see if we're going to see maybe a bit more competition than the race in Australia, as Bahrain is a lot faster than Australia in terms of a lot more straights and a lot more fast moving corners. So I'm curious to see how the drivers are going to adapt to that today. And right now we already got the clock going for qualifying here in tier 2, as opposed to tier 1. We actually do a different strategy, where in tier 1 we actually choose to have a full quali session with all 3 quali sessions, and then we head on to the race. Tier 2 is different, however. Tier 2, we have a short qualifying, which means it'll be a single 18-minute session where the drivers will try and set the fastest possible times, and that will determine the grid for the race. And if you guys are just joining in here, welcome. And I appreciate all of you guys coming in here and sharing all of the love and support. And just so you guys know, I do have the chat up. So I will be welcoming you guys in as you come in. Gran, welcome in. Welcome into the stream. I do recognize your name. It has been a hot minute, but I'm glad that you're here as we're seeing all these drivers start, or at least most of the drivers have now started their laps. Only one driver is still in the pits, as we'll see kind of a gauge. We'll see where the drivers stand as qualifying is going to go ahead and start. And you can see Logan's right there warming up his tires, and that will be the first lap that we will get from one who will go ahead and set the first lap, but Darkslayer will take over that provisional pole with a 1 minute 29.106. So we will see. Oh, and now there is a caution. And I do believe that was the Mercedes. Yeah, that was the Mercedes. So maybe he wanted to get out of the way, but cautioned flying through. Oblicky will set a 133.2. And now we'll see as Alex is going to start his lap. Slow Hondas will be the next one to set the lap. We'll see where he stands. I've been doing really good, Graham. I've been doing really, really good. Things have been going great. And I'm happy to be able to be commentating here for Vortex, and it's a lot of fun to commentate for this league. They're a lot of fun, and they're very, very supportive. And as much as supportive they are, don't worry if you guys are watching from Vortex. I will stick to commentating and not racing. if you know, you know. As Slow Honda is going to come down the front stretch to the line, and it will be a 129.8. So it'll be 7/10 off of Darkslayer's time. And now we'll see as Nova Hex starts their own lap, and Alex is halfway through their lap. So we will see where those drivers will place. Actually, there's a Ferrari that... Oh, it was the Ferrari of FCN who had a moment. So that was not going to help him. Oh, and actually, I just noticed that Alex is using the strat of using an intermediate tire to go ahead and set his first lap without using any other tire compound. And it is allowed in this league as far as I know. So I'm actually kind of curious to see. Not that we're going to see any rain as he's going to go across the line. It will be a 133.4. That's a pretty good time for being on intermediate. So I'm curious to see what it's going to look like when he goes onto the actual soft compound for qualifying. As now Nova Hex in the Cadillac will be the next driver to go ahead and cross the line as we hit 11.5 minutes remaining here in the session. Nova Hex will go across the line, and it will be a 136.7. He is going to continue, so that may have been almost a second warm-up lap, but we will see if he's going to continue. And as we said, these drivers have plenty of time to get more and more laps in. And now every single driver has set a lap time. And actually, look at Logan's. Logan's reaching up into P2 with a 129.7 in his Vortex League debut. And that is a very good starting lap time for him. And actually, talking about talking about debuts and talking about the drivers, we can actually go ahead and show you guys. We do have the statistics out now that we can go ahead and show you guys the driver standings, and they should be appearing. There we go. As right now, these are the current driver standings. Last week was our very first race here in Tier 2. And right now, Darkslayer leads, as Darkslayer came out with a win from Australia, and he currently holds P1. As Darkslayer in P1 with 25 points, Dumain in P2 with 18, Oblizzy, sorry, I can't read apparently. Oblizzy in P3 with 15 points, and then drops in P4 with 12. And that is your top four for the time being. As you may be wondering, we did have more drivers. Why don't I have any points? Actually, all the other drivers had crash, and that was a little bit of a stinging point for some of the drivers, as they had issues and ended up crashing and we retired out of the race. Slow Honda's had to bail out of his lap, so we'll go ahead and go to another driver as we do hit 9.5 minutes. But that is not the only thing. We can go ahead and look at the constructors as well. And right now, obviously, Ferrari, and this will reflect how the driver standings looks, as right now Ferrari leads, Red Bull in second, Williams in third, Racing Bull in fourth, and then currently right now then Audi is in fifth. We will see a lot more of those teams start to appear after this race, as now we have Ferrari, Cadillac, Mercedes, Haas, Williams, Red Bull, and an Aston Martin. So it will be interesting to see where all of the standings will be after this race. And we hit 8.5 minutes to go here in the race, as Oblicky is going to go ahead and go into the pits. So far, Darkslayer still the fastest lap on the grid, and now FCN is on a fast lap himself. And he is going to be the last driver to set a time. And as he goes around, I'm going to make sure that all of my telemetry settings are working. As surprisingly, we had an issue similar to this last week in a tier 1 race on Saturday. And actually, if you guys are interested in that, be sure to watch on Saturdays, same time, 7:30 p.m. EST, as tier 1 races around that time, as FCN is going to go across the line, and it will be a 133.7, and that will put him into P7 for the time being, as the drivers are all either going right into the pits, going back on an outlap, and then continuing on as time is winding down. And we'll go ahead and see. And actually, right now, it appears that my telemetry is not wanting to respond. So we'll go ahead, as the drivers are setting up, we'll go ahead and reset that to make sure that it's all working. But how are you guys doing? I hope you guys are all doing really well. I'm happy that you guys are all here. And it's been fun. I mean, it's been a lot of fun to be able to commentate. I've been having an absolute blast. And it's been a lot of fun being here, and I'm happy to have another opportunity to do it. And actually, one thing I'm also very thankful for, that I am so happy that I am going to be able to tell you guys about, that now the project that I have been working on, actually I mentioned it last week, that last week I was working on a project. Well, officially I can say that that project is out. And that project is called Radio Check. It is now on YouTube. The first episode is live on my YouTube. So if you guys go ahead and hit !YouTube, you guys can go to my YouTube page and see it. But it is a brand new YouTube show where we go ahead and talk about the latest and greatest hits in Formula One, IndyCar, and NFL, as well as every other sport. But those are the main three. And we go ahead and talk about the biggest headlines, and then go through recaps and talk about what everything means. And it is going to be very interesting, as episode 1 is up right now, where we talk about current NFL preseason movement and decisions. And then in episode 2, coming out later tonight, it will be talking about current IndyCar and F1 standings, as not only is there going to be another F1 race, or sorry, an F1 race next weekend, there's actually going to be an IndyCar race this weekend in Canada at a brand new track, no less. So believe me, there will always be more stuff coming out. So if that sounds like something you guys are interested, make sure to go ahead and check that out on YouTube. As I was talking, FCN actually improved on his time by over a second, and he has moved up into P5 with a 132.5. And Slow Honda's did improve on his time. And actually, look at Alex. jumping up from P7 to P3 with a 129.7 as we hit 5 minutes to go here left in the session. And actually, I believe the Darkslayer did improve on his last time. Or maybe he was... No, sorry. He remains at the same time. But he still does have provisional pole at 129.1 for the time being. And the drivers, once again, are getting ready to go. I'm going to try and get my telemetry up one more time. If it chooses not to work, we might just be out of luck. And it appears we might just be out of luck. Or maybe I can go ahead and try one thing as I go ahead and make sure. Nope, it is unfortunately not working. So we'll have to go this race more than likely without the telemetry. Maybe we can try it one more time as we wait for the drivers to ready up in between the race. And as we said before, in between qualifying and race, there is a mandatory 5-minute break to let the drivers get their setups right and let their strategy be right. Because I know from experience that sometimes it can be very detrimental to have a bad strategy. And if anyone in Vortex is watching, you already know that Belgium was rough. That we just did some recent drop-in races, and Belgium was rough, and my strategy actually cost me the race. And that was just one thing that was kind of unfortunate. As Slow Hondas is actually going to go ahead and retire. So an interesting decision there with a 129.5. He's currently in P2. Alex did set a very good time that got him into P3. So now I'm really curious to see where Logan's is going to place, as this is going to be his second real qualifying lap. He set the 129.7, went into P2, and then since then, Slow Hondas and Alex went past him. And actually, Darkslayer is now going to be on an outlap as well. Actually, he had to take a little bit of evasive action as Logan's came flying in. But luckily, he was able to get out of the way just in time. As we go on board here with Logan's, as he takes us for a lap as we hit 2 minutes remaining here. And look at that! I was talking about him, Alex, with a new fastest lap, a 129.041. So that is going to swing all the pressure onto Darkslayer and Logan's to see if they are going to be able to get a faster lap time. So Nova Hex is into the pits. That might be the end of their qualifying. And this is where not having my telemetry really hurts, because I'm trying to make sure to see. And now he is 3/10 up on his time. So that would put him into P3. Sorry, that would put Logan's into P3 for the time being. Coming down through Sector 3 around the final corner. Using the rest of that battery. Does he have enough to the line? And it will be close. But it's going to be a 129.1. And that is going to put him into third. And now we go on board with Darkslayer, as he had the original fastest lap. But now, with Alex taking that away, it all comes down to Alex. Or sorry, it comes down to Alex, but it also does come down to Darkslayer. Does the current championship leader have another good lap in him? Sector 1 is not going to help him. He was a little slow. 3,300 slower in Sector 1 as the time is going to wind down. Alex did get another lap started. And actually, FCN is going to get another lap started. One is going to get another lap started. Oh, no, one is done. One will finish in P6 for the time being with a 131.9. Nova will finish in P8 with a 134.3. Everyone else was able to get at least one more lap. Logan's is on a slow lap, so he is done. So now look at that. In Sector 2, purple Sector 2, 4/10 up on his time. But the question is, can he carry that through Sector 3? This final turn and the battery deployment is going to be critical. Around the final turn, he stays within track limits. To the line. Does he have pole position? He does! With a blazing 1 minute 28.631. And he has provisional pole. But Alex is up on his time. He may still have a little bit more in the tank. Through Sector 1, he was a 10th up. Now heading out of Sector 2, he's still just about a 10th up, which would put him into the 128. But again, this final sector is going to be the critical part. Around the final corner here, once again staying within track limits. He does. He keeps it going down to the line. Does he have anything to the line? And it's slow. It looks like he ran out of battery in that last turn, and FCN's time is invalidated from track limits. So that is going to do it from qualifying. An amazing lap from Darkslayer is going to give him pole position here for the race, as we are going to go ahead and get ready for the main race here in Bahrain after a short qualifying. Here is your starting lineup. Darkslayer will get pole position with a 1 minute 29.6. Alex in P2, Logan's in P3, Slow Honda's P4, FCN P5, 1 in P6, Oblicky P7, and Nova Hex in P8. And I can already see the typing in the Discord letting the drivers know that there is going to be a break. So the drivers have been made aware that there is a 5-minute stoppage point where the drivers will get to change their last little bits of their setup, and then we will get ready to go. We're going to go ahead and make sure to take a very quick break so that you guys are not going to miss any of the racing action. But don't go anywhere, as Vortex Racing League will return here shortly.
you in. I told you that one day ain't never enough. You tell me I hate you, I still call you up. If we don't got trust, we can never have love. I was putting in the hours, I was. But you were calling me a liar, 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 liar. Yeah, I've been putting in the hours, I was. And it's coming down to now and now and now and now and never. I was putting in the I'm sick of fighting the things that you said. I don't wanna burn all our bridges ahead. I'm tired of going to bed when you left me on red just to turn up the noise in my head. I told you that one day ain't never enough.
Welcome back, everyone, to Vortex Racing League. I hope you guys are all doing well, and welcome back after that short break. Unfortunately, I was not able to get my telemetry up, so I'm kind of unfortunate, but we just got to deal with it when our software just chooses not to work. But in the meantime, Alex, thank you so much for the follow. I see you driving here in the race for the Haas, so I appreciate the follow. And actually, if you guys want to know a little bit of a little secret, we are at 448 followers. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever picture getting anywhere near this. So just as something for me to say, thank you guys. Really, thank you guys for all the love and support. It really means everything to me, and it means everything to me to be able to commentate and to put on a show for you guys, as I already know that that is what these drivers are going to do. As the 5 minutes is just about up, and I see that the drivers right now are getting ready. And this is the best part. And if you guys are interested, go ahead and do exclamation point Vortex, and you guys can get the link to the Vortex Discord, where we're currently getting ready as the drivers are reacting. As the timer is going down, formation lap is underway. And what I was laughing at was I was laughing at one who was in the Mercedes said that he got fresh tea, which sounds good, but then he says he also got a Red Bull. So interesting combination. I can't necessarily knock it because of it being right before an F1 race. But I mean, here's the real question. He's driving for Mercedes. Is he allowed to get a Red Bull? Is that actually legally allowed? I'm just kidding. As we go ahead and start the formation lap, as we will go ahead and the drivers are going to let their tires get warmed up. We can go ahead and take a quick look here, and this will pretty much be my telemetry. As I said before, my software is not necessarily working today for some reason, but we'll go ahead and look at the tire compound. Interesting mix, as Darkslanger, FCN 1, and Nova are starting on the soft compound. Then Alex, Logan's, and Oblicky are starting on the mediums, and then Slow Honda starting on the hards. So it is a very, very interesting mix. It's a very, very interesting mix of tire compound. I don't really know necessarily how to interpret this. I'm curious to see what the strategy is going to look like, as this is 29 laps, and it'll be very interesting to see how long those soft tires are going to go. I can imagine that this race could be a 2-stop. Yes, and then you can see right there the possible race strategy. More than likely, it is going to be a 2-stop. But I do also know that some of these drivers are good at saving their tires. And actually, in another league, I have witnessed people pull off a 1-stop here. So I would not put it out of the realm of possibility that maybe if one of these drivers is good, that they are able to maybe pull off the 1-stop if it's possible. As the drivers will get set and get ready for the race. And don't worry, that DSQ is not from the race. That is just from the formation lap, as they will all get set up. And here in 5 lights time, the Tier 2 Bahrain Grand Prix is underway, and Darkslayer is going to get the best launch out of all of them. He's going to launch out ahead, and it's going to be almost 3 wide heading down here into turn 1. The Ferrari's going to break and take the lead. Slow Hondas is going to go underneath Logan's into P3 as we head down through Sector 1, but now Logan's is fighting back. It's going to be side by side heading through here to the second straight mode zone, but Slow Hondas is going to be able to get ahead and secure the place for now, but he runs wide. So that's going to open the door for open the door for Logan's as they're still battling going through. A very close battle is right now ensuing. A block up there from FCN. As you can see right now, Logan's trying to use his advantage of having that medium compound, trying to get past Hondas as quick as possible. As you can see, Alex is all over the back of Darkslayer. You can see right there with that beautiful camera angle as everyone heads down through Sector 2. And I can imagine that this is going to be the battle to watch. And you can see that FCN and the rest of the group, they are not that far behind. And it will be curious to see the battle between this group and then the 2 leaders. Excuse me. Heading down through Sector 3, completing the first lap. Still no movement as far as we can see, but this may be where it starts. The fastest lap set by Darkslayer going down the front stretch. Still nothing. It looked like Alex debated about maybe trying to make a move, but thought better of it. As we head down through Sector 1, still no movement, but you can see this may be the one difference. And now to the inside, Alex may be looking to make the move. It wasn't there. And I think this may be the one downside for Logan's. He wants to get past Slow Hondas. As you can see, the gap is increasing between Slow Hondas and Alex, and Logan's probably wants to keep up with that lead group who are on the softer compounds. And so far, you could just say that it has been great management for Darkslayer so far, as he's been able to keep Alex behind. And remember, Alex has overtake mode enabled, meaning that he is going to get a little bit extra boost from his battery in overtaking positions. Now here we go. Now down through Sector 3, down the straight. Is there going to be a lap time to the overtake line? Here's the question: who got it? As Alex is going to take the lead, but now you can see Darkslayer immediately fighting back. One of them has to have overtake mode. Go ahead and look. And actually, Darkslayer was the one who got it. As Alex will set the new fastest lap. Look at that. Darkslayer was the one who actually got the overtake mode. And he's probably going to use this to bounce right back to the lead. And he's going to be able to still be right on Alex's tail, but then look at this still. Logan's still right there chasing down slow Hondas. And this is not good for Logan's, because the longer Logan's is stuck behind him, and ooh, and a little bit of a slide there. But the longer that Logan's is behind slow Hondas, the more that group is going to get ahead. And actually, there's a caution, as I believe that, yes, that was the Williams. Oh, wait, no, we got another moment. Oh, it was the Mercedes of 1 who had a spin there in sector 2, but he's going to be able to get back and going without hitting the wall. So his race will continue, thank goodness, as the battle here continues for the lead. Are we going to see the move down here through sector 3? Still nothing. No move there made. So overtake mode will be there for Darkslayer an entire another lap. So now moving out of the slipstream, it looks like the Ferrari doesn't even care about it. Heading to the outside, but nothing there. So very interesting there. Darkslayer not going for the move, but now further back. Does Logan's finally make the move? He does. Logan's will finally get past slow Hondas, as slow Hondas was trying to impersonate 2021 Checo, as now the Aston Martin finally moves into P3 and can maybe try and use that softer compound, that medium compound, to try and catch up to the 2 leaders who are still battling it out. One thing that kind of is surprising to me, that Darkslayer hasn't made a move yet, which I was kind of wondering if he was going to. So it's still very, very interesting to see that so far no move being made. And you can see, I mean, look at the difference in terms of the compound. Logan's already a second ahead of slow Hondas, and I don't even think that is necessarily pace, as now maybe a move here for the lead around the outside. And nothing doing there, as they will stay right where they were. But now going down through sector 3, is this going to be the move for the Ferrari? He thought about it. He thought better. As now we head down the front stretch, as we said before, Darkslayer is going to have that overtake mode. And now this time he is following the slipstream. So now is he going to make the move? And actually, look at that. Logan's will get the fastest lap now. That's 3rd place behind the 2 leaders. So now they may have to be worrying about that. And still no move made here by Darkslayer. And sort of in the same situation that Logan's was in, is that Logan's was trying to get past slow Hondas, because slow Hondas is going to benefit from having that harder compound. He's going to be able to go on a longer stint than these other drivers. It's the same way with the 2 leaders. Alex is on the mediums. Darkslayer went on the softs. So right now, he's going to have more of an opportunity. And now talk about an opportunity around the outside. The Haasmat, a little bit of a worse exit. And it looks like Darkslayer is going to take the lead. And it will be the Ferrari who takes the lead on an opportune moment. And as I said before, now that he is ahead, he's going to try and take advantage of that. But now he's going to let the Haas go right around. Right around the outside. Maybe no battery left, or maybe a little bit of battery management. And now you can see they're deploying it, going to the inside. Maybe it was a little aggressive from the Haas. And now down the inside, and the Ferrari retakes the lead. Oh, but he runs wide. He runs wide, so that's going to give an opportunity, and he is going to go flying into the pits. So he will be the first driver to pit. Alex will take the lead, with Logan's and slow Hondas closing in from behind. And we'll go ahead and check here. See what Darkslayer switch. He switches to the hards. And now he's going to get out of the pits. And oh, that is not going to help him. Getting out of the pits behind Oblicki and FCN, meaning he's going to have to fight through traffic, where Oblicki is not close to pitting. And depending, we'll see how FCN will fight. So now, as I said before, this is going to be very curious to see how the situation will play out. And we'll go on board here with Slow Honda. So you can see the gap there. The gap between him and Slow Hondas. And you can even see Alex. You can see Alex there at the front. It is not much distance between the three leaders. And all three of these drivers making their Tier 2 debuts. As FCN, Oblicky, and Darkslayer, and I actually know, and Nova Hex as well, those four drivers were in the first Tier 2 race last week at Australia, as Darkslayer is going to go ahead and make the move on Oblicky. And Darkslayer is going to move up into P5. So I am going to wonder that right now FCN is ahead. I do wonder if there is going to be any team orders issued, as going off a little bit off track and destroys that straight mode board. I didn't like that board either. So you can see the distance there, but I would wonder if there is going to be any team orders and see if Darkslayer is going to try and get by as quick as possible. And actually, look at this. Slow Honda's made the move and now moves into P2 as that hard compound is starting to heat up. Does go wide there. So that's going to make sure that Logan's is still going to be right there. You can see the gap there. That 2 seconds, you might see 2 seconds on there as one has another incident but gets going again. You might see 2 seconds and think that 2 seconds is a long time, but you can see the distance right there. It's not as much of a distance as you might think, as FCN is going to get the first time penalty of this race for track limits violations. So now I'm curious to see, is Logan's going to try and make a move going down here through the straight here at the front stretch? And you can see he's on the battery. You can see he's trying to chase him down. Maybe, yeah, getting off the battery there. He's going to tuck in behind. So maybe watch for Logan's to try and get a good exit and make a run. It was a better entry for Logan's than it was for Slow Honda's. And it's a better exit for Logan's again. Is he going to make the move here? Down the straight, it looked like he debated about it, but chose not to, as we will stay right where we were, as Slow Hondas will remain in P2 for at least a little bit longer. And actually, look at this. Darkslayer moving in on his teammate. And what do we say? As the team game will play out, as Darkslayer will overtake his teammate, and one having another spin as he is on the soft tires. I wonder if that means that the softs are starting to go, as he's been having incidents and spins with the tires. So I'm curious to see if those drivers who are still on the softs are going to pit here soon. But I am also curious to see, when are these drivers on the medium going to pit? That's going to be the very interesting part, because remember, Slow Hondas is on the hards, and those last the longest out of the three compounds we have. So I'm curious to see, when is he going to pit? Oh, we have a moment. Oh, and it's FCN into the wall and missing a chunk of his front wing. Maybe having a spin. I did not see another car. So luckily no safety car or anything deployed, but I can imagine that will be a pit stop coming up for FCN, as this battle at the front is still ensuing. And actually, you can see there, Nova Hex is going to overtake FCN, which I can imagine meaning that FCN is going to go ahead and pit, and that is going to drop him even behind one. Oh, Nova Hex is going to pit as well. So actually, even more interesting, Nova was able to get ahead of FCN before overtaking. One did not pit, so one will move up into P6. So kind of interesting decision there, but a definitely very opportune choice by Nova as he go ahead and pits. An interesting choice. Nova moves on to the another soft compound FCN moves into the hard compound. And with replacing a new front wing, it wasted more time. So that means Nova Hex will have a little bit of a lead ahead of FCN. But down here at the front, I'm curious to know how those tires are feeling for the mediums, as there really is no sign of pitting. But I am curious to know from the drivers how those tires are feeling, because I know that the mediums, they don't last as long as the hards, but depending on the track, they can wear almost just as quickly as the softs do. And actually, if you guys are wondering, we are also continuing to use a new thing called Pole Apex, which you guys are interested. As I said before, you guys can do !Vortex and join the Discord server. You guys can get access to this amazing league tool. So far as I can see, no radio clips from the drivers so far. Yeah, no. Oh, and now one is going to get a penalty. So one is going to get a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. As he's going to go ahead and pit, he will get passed by Nova. Here's the question, though. Is he going to get passed by FCN? As he's going to rush out of the pit lane. And it's going to be close as I make sure to switch the camera to the line. Oh, and a big lag spike there. As one exits the pit lane and FCN will move into P7. Very interesting lag spike there. But that will mean that... Oh, and now here's the moment. On lap 10, Alex will pit. Slow Hondas will go through. Logan's does not. So Alex will go ahead and pit. So now he pits, and Darkslayer is now entering the front stretch. So will Alex at least be behind him? He will get out of the pit. You can see him go by there. And it will be maybe a little bit closer than what Darkslayer would like, as Alex will come out in P4, only 3 seconds behind, 4 seconds behind Darkslayer with a fresh set of hards. So now I'm curious to see how this battle is going to go out, as Logan's is still on those mediums, Slow Hondas is on the hards. Are these going to be the two drivers who are going to attempt a one-stop? If they pull it off, I would be amazed. It's still a close battle. So now you saw Alex pit this last time going around. Does this mean is Logan's going to pit as well? Looked like he twitched, almost like he was playing with the camera, but he does not pit. And actually you can see he is catching Slow Hondas. So now is he going to make the move? He's going to let off and coast to break. So still nothing, still no move being made. Still nothing. And actually he's going to choose not to use any battery there. So maybe he's going to have more battery going through this, as Slow Honda's still battling for the lead. Logan's only a tenth. 3/10. For some reason I'm having a hard time reading. 3/10 behind Slow Hondas. But here's one question too, that Logan's, the more laps he does on the media, if he's doing the one stop, that could help him. But if he's not, then the more laps that he does could potentially put him all the way maybe behind Oblicki, which Oblicki did pit onto a fresh set of mediums. So I can imagine Oblicki, who started on the mediums, is going medium, medium, hard. So there is a chance the longer Logan's goes, he could end up being behind Oblicky depending on what happens in the pit lane. So I'm curious to see what the game plan strategy is going to be. Once again, no pit lane there. Once again, blowing by. Heading down the pit lane, or heading down the front stretch. Once again, no move being made. So right now, it looks like both of these drivers are in nurse tires mode. And I believe that they might actually be going for the one stop. That both slow Hondas and Logans are both going for that coveted one stop. But now here's actually one question. Now, Logan's has fallen outside of that 1 second mark. We'll see if he recatches up to slow Hondas within that second, but this may be the pit time. As you can see in that one sector alone, falling out of that 1 second, he's still losing pace. So it looks like maybe the mediums have now outworn completely. So now I'm curious to see, will this be the pit? He doesn't get the overtake line. So it will not matter. Oh, and now look at this. Both slow Hondas and Logan's pitting. They both won't get pitted. I thought Logan's was going to pit. I had no idea slow Hondas was going to pit. So this is going to be a race off pit lane for them. But now you can see Darkslayer now will inherit the lead. Alex in P2. Slow Hondas is going to get the better pit stop. As now look at this. Slow Hondas onto the mediums. Logan's onto the hards. So here we go. As all drivers have done their one stop. So now, where will these drivers place? You can see once again back to the same old battle, as now Alex is catching up to Darkslayer and chasing him down for the lead. And now down the inside, and once again, it doesn't work. As Alex tried to send it on the inside, it didn't work. And we will stay right where we were. But now maybe hanging around the outside does go off track. That may be a warning. As right now we only have 2 drivers with penalties, as FCN had a track limits violation. One has a 10-second violation for speeding in the pit lane. And now you can see just how close Alex is getting to Darkslayer, heading around the final turn through down the front stretch. You can see here, now I'm curious to see, is Alex going to make the move? You can see him following the slipstream. Now he's slowly catching up. Is there going to be a move? And now dive bomb to the inside. Is he going to be able to get on the brakes? Down through turn 1. But look at that poise under pressure, as Darkslayer is going to maintain the lead for right now. Heading down through the second straight mode zone. Is there going to be another move? Side by side. Down the inside. Can Alex hold on to it? Down through sector 1 into sector 2. Alex holds on to it. Oh my word. He held on to that line through sheer force of will, that he said he was not going to give up on that inside line no matter what Darkslayer tried. And Darkslayer, he gave it his best shot, as you can see him using that mechanical grip through the car to try and make sure that he could hang it around the outside. But it did not work, as now Alex, with the tire advantage, is now in the lead. And actually now looking at the telemetry there, the interval, Logan's has re-caught up to slow Honda, so it is going to be a battle between them as well. as I can imagine that as we hit halfway through the race, this is going to be a battle all the way to the end. Staying within that 1 second gap is going to be crucial for Darkslayer. As he said before, he's going to get that overtake mode. And as long as he has that overtake mode, he's going to be able to get there. But as we said before, the strategy here is going to be the 2-stop. And oh, that's not going to help. Darkslayer with a 3-second time penalty for multiple track warning violations. And oh, a big moment as Logan's is going to go through. And Logan's moves up into P3 ahead of Slow Honda's. It looked like something happened because they swapped places really quick, that it didn't seem like a natural overtake. So now the Aston Martin of Logan's will move into P3. So now this race has become more intriguing. We believe that most of these drivers are going to still have to do a one-stop. Unless Logan's tries the one-stop, which he could still be in range, every other leader is probably planning to two-stop. As Darkslayer, he's entering that. Slow Hondas went 13 laps on the hard tires. We'll see if he chooses to go longer or shorter as his tires hit 11 laps old. But right now, Alex, he's in a good spot. Logan's in a better spot. So now the question's going to be, especially with that time penalty, I can imagine Darkslayer's heart rate probably climbed a little bit. Because now if he wants to win, he is going to have to get his pit stop perfect, and he's going to have to try and fight to stay ahead of his penalty. And you can see already that is not going to help, as right now Alex is trying to open that gap up to not even give Darkslayer the overtake mode, which I can say from experience, when you're chasing down a car, having overtake mode is very helpful. But when you're chasing a car and you end up falling outside of that gap, it feels like flipping a light switch almost. Like all of a sudden you do not have the same amount of power that you need to try and catch the car. And then that gap tends to open up. And right now, as he is 1.1 behind, one will get out of the way to not impede heading down the front stretch. We'll go ahead and check the telemetry. Does he have overtake mode? He loses it. That now Darkslayer does not have that overtake mode, and you can see he's already running dangerously low on the battery anyway. And now there is a caution. I think that was a glitch because one was pulling into the pits, and I don't know why the game thought that there was an issue. But now you can see, and one will go ahead and retire in the pits, our first retirement of the race. So now 7 drivers remain here in this battle. As you can see now, Slow Honda's 1.5 seconds behind Logan's. Logan's not really making any sort of progress on Darkslayer right now. So I really believe that this is going to come down to pit stop. And I can imagine that Darkslayer is probably going to make another pit. Remember, he started on the softs, so he may be moving to the mediums. The question is going to be, when will he do it? And as we continue, right now, if I'm being completely honest, right now, Logan's is in the best position to win. And it is because of the one-stop. I'm not saying that it's going to be possible, as Nova is going to get a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. I'm saying that there is a chance. And the reason that there is a chance is because you can see the difference. Remember, we're basing this off of Slow Hondas, who started on the hard compound. He went 13 laps, which now you can see Darkslayer will go into the pits. So that is the moment he chooses. Logan's and slow Hondas will pass him. More than likely, Darkslayer, yes, he's going to get out ahead of Oblicky, so he will maintain P4. He does put on a fresh set of mediums. So now it comes down to this. Alex has 10-second lead, and he has 8 laps of hard tires on. Logan's only 5. Technically speaking, if Logan's can conserve his tires, there is a chance he could win this race if he pulls off this one stop. Now, again, we will see as we go on. I don't have the telemetry, so I do not know where their tires are at. Usually, I would be able to more articulately tell you guys, depending on what the tire wear is. You can see Nova letting the leaders go by, as Slow Hondas has actually caught up too within that 1 second gap, in which I can't imagine that Slow Hondas has one more pit stop as well, as he went from hards to mediums. But we will see. Logan's went 12 laps on the mediums. So that is the one thing that I'm questioning, is that Logan's was able to go 12 laps on the mediums, and then Slow Hondas did the exact same thing, 12 laps on the hards, and they both pit at the same time. So that's why I'm curious to see how far Logan's can go, because if he made his mediums last as long as he did, I'm curious of how long he can let his hards last, as we do cross, and we have 10 laps to go here left in the race. We are still watching right now as Slow Hondas has been slowly closing in on Logan's. As if Slow Hondas is going to be able to make a move, that could throw a wrench in the plans of Logan's, just because right now Logan's wants to save his tires as much as possible. If he continues to battle Slow Hondas, all that's going to happen is that he ends up wearing his tires more and more. And the more that they battle, the closer Darkslayer will get. And if Darkslayer joins the fray and starts battling as well, that's going to hurt their chances just as much. And as we said before, right now, the top 3 there, this is their tier 2 debut. And Darkslayer right now is the championship leader. So if he finishes where he does today, he would retain that championship lead. But right then and there, Alex, Logan's, and Slow Hondas would all be mixed into the fray. And we would have to see where the championship will stack up, as Alex is going to go ahead and right now on 10-lap old hard tires. We will continue to keep tabs on him to see, will Alex pit? So far this time he will not. So we will remain right where we are for the time being. No pitting from either Slow Hondas or Logan's. FCN is going to get another time penalty for track limits violations. as that gap continues to kind of fluctuate. But I will say Alex is still pulling a gap away from Logan, surprisingly, despite the starting to get old hard tires. But Slow Hondas is losing a little bit of pace to Logan's. As you can see, the interval is fluctuating kind of between 9/10 behind and then as much as 1.5 seconds behind. Right now, it really is just kind of a waiting game because we're waiting for the one piece of action to happen that could decide this race. It could be if Alex pits or if something else happens in terms of if Alex ends up getting a penalty. It's just, we do not know. It is almost like holding your breath, but you don't know when the surface is going to break. Now we just have to wait and see as lap 23 will start. And that means that we get ever closer to the finish. No movement to the pits from anyone. That you can see Oblicky and FCN will enter the pits as the leaders will go ahead and pass FCN and then Oblicky. And I remember, these guys are still fighting for points, as right now Oblicky's still holding P5 for the time being, as he's going to make sure to hold his place over FCN and Nova as well. So Alex will hit 12 laps on his tires. So now we're entering the threshold where we do not know what's going to happen. I do believe that Logan's has the tire advantage. I think that he could go to the end if he wants to try. I'm starting to wonder if Alex goes for another lap. I think that he is going to try and go long on a longer stint as well. So we'll go to the lead for right now. We'll keep tabs on that battle. So here's the question. Both Slow Hondas and Darkslayer pitted on 12-lap old hard tires. Is Alex going to do the same thing? He does not. So he will set the new precedent and make it on lap 24, 13-lap old hard tires, and we will continue for another lap. I can imagine right now that Alex wants to try and make those tires last as long as possible because he knows if he pits, Logan's will be the winner because right now he has that 3-lap advantage on his tires. And now, as we said, with just about 5.5 laps to go here in this race, it's almost a game of who will blink first. It will be dependent on who is going to blink first. There is a caution, and I believe that that is the Cadillac of Nova, but they will get going again and green flag back underway. And you can see right there Oblicky letting the leaders go by as he is going to make sure to stay ahead of FCN. And actually FCN is making ground on Oblicky. So now, here we go once again. 13-lap old hard tires. A second and 1.2 seconds slower than his fastest lap. Is Alex making the move? He does not make it 14 laps. He must be feeling confident, but Logan's is slowly catching. That gap that interval has actually closed by 1 second between Logan's and Alex. And you can see that interval is still falling. So that is going to be something I'm going to be keeping an eye on as we hit 4 laps to go here in Bahrain. That interval is still fluctuating, but now Logan's comfortably in P2. Slow Hondas now has to be watching Darkslayer behind him. Slow Hondas right now on 11-lap old medium tires. I can imagine the medium tires are probably starting to really wear now. And Darkslayer, who's good to the end, is looking to pounce and capitalize and try to get a podium out of this. So now I'm curious to see what this will all look like. We'll go on board here with Darkslayer. And you can see the distance there. That car in front of him is Oblicky, and then the next car beyond that is Slow Honda's. So now we'll go ahead and go to the front once again. Around the final turn. I think this would determine it. Is Alex going to go to the end? I think he is. I think Alex is going to risk it for the biscuit. And he is going to try and go to the end on these hard tires. But now you got to wonder, 15 lap old hard tires, the more that these tires are used, I wish that I had my telemetry up right now. The more that the tires are going to get used, the more there is a risk for a puncture. And that goes to the same for Slow Hondas or Logan's. The more that these tires are used. So this will be one. This is going to be one crazy finish, because we really do not know what is going to happen, because there is a real possibility that if Alex continues to go, he could finish the race on these hards. But the problem is that he could end up trying to finish the race on 3 wheels. Oh, and now look at that. So if you want a representation of how much Darkslayer wants this podium, right there, destroying that inside cone, trying to get as fast as he can around the track to catch up to Slow Hondas, in which Slow Hondas is still defending for that podium position. So now down the front stretch, we're continuing to look around the track. Down the front stretch. Any movement? No movement there. A little bit of a wheel twitch, but nothing there. Make it 16 laps. But the gap is slowly closing. No movement from Logan's. But now here's a question. Is there going to be movement from Slow Hondas? No. So it looks like all these drivers are going to try and attempt the one stop. I said that I've seen it done before, but usually most drivers tend to go for the 2-stop to be safe. I don't think these drivers understand the meaning of the word safe. They're all going for it because they all know that if one driver makes a mistake, they got to be ready to capitalize on it. That caution is for Oblicky obliging and letting the drivers go by. But I will say, look at that. FCN is actually closing in on Oblicky. So that might be another battle that we're going to have to keep track on as FCN closes in on Oblicky. We'll make sure to keep eyes on it and tabs on that. As now you can see on that map in the bottom right, that white dot is going through Sector 3. Is it going to be to the end, or is it going to be a mad dash on sauce? This realistically would be your last chance. And now movement. Oh, he's going to pit. Oh, no, he faked. I think he's watching the stream. So he faked the pit. So that seals it. That realistically seals it. He's going to go for it. He's going to go for the end. And again, I wish I had my telemetry to see what the tires are at right now. But again, no movement from Slow Hondas, no movement from Logan's. So I think that this could be the finishing order because Alex is just chilling. I don't know what those, you can see that he's nursing those tires. And as I said before, I really wish that my telemetry app was working. But my telemetry app is currently not working. As here we go, the last lap. White flag in the air, as Alex is going to be the one to take it. Lap 28 out of 29 will go to Alex. As you can see, now the gap is widening out a little bit. As now Alex is going to take the white flag. 1 lap to go here in Bahrain. Logan's maintaining P2 for the time being. Slow Honda's in P3 as well. Darkslayer trying to catch up, but it might not be enough. Darkslayer will get another 3-second time penalty. That is going to do it, as it is 6 seconds worth of penalties for Darkslayer. And now Oblicky will try and maintain P3. You can see FCN behind him. Does FCN have anything left in the tank? 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds to try and climb back. Does FCN have anything left in the tank? But that should do it unless something crazy happens. Oh! As soon as I went off him, a big moment for FCN, as he's going to be off the track. He's going to rejoin the track, but that is going to do it for his hopes of getting P5. I would say that that's a commentator's curse, but we weren't on him. We would say that was a commentator's curse, but the camera wasn't on him and we didn't say anything. But unfortunate for FCN, and we'll see if he maybe can do something to try and close that gap down again. But it won't matter, as here we go to the line. It didn't matter what those hard tires were doing. He took them all the way to the end, and it is going to be Alex in the Haas who will take the win here in Tier 2 Bahrain. Logan's will come home in a comfortable P2, as now Slow Hondas and Darkslayer will come home right behind them. Slow Hondas with a podium finish as well, and Darkslayer in P4 will maintain his championship lead. Oblicky across the line with a good result in P5. FCN will go ahead and come home here in P6. And then your final driver, Nova, will finish here in P7. And then one who retired in the pits will finish in P8. Unbelievable. I did not expect that. Usually it is maybe 1 or 2 drivers that are the ones who try and go for the one stop as the crazy thing. It didn't matter. We had 3 different drivers who pulled off the one stop. 3. And guess what? All 3 of them were on the podium. That all 3 drivers who pulled off the one stop were on the podium, and all 3 as well making their Tier 2 debuts as well. And that is a great showing, as the debuts for these drivers go well, and they have absolutely earned the right to celebrate that, as they were able to pull that off. And we'll go ahead and look at the final statistics, as Alex will get the race winner, fastest lap, and driver of the day as well. Oblicky will get most overtakes and cleanest driver. That is good for him. As now we head into the final standings, as Alex will take home the win, and he will finish in first place, and a great result for Haas. Logan's in the Aston Martin in P2, Slow Honda's in the Red Bull in P3, Darkslayer in the Ferrari in P4, Oblicky in the Williams in P5, FCN in P6 in the Ferrari, Nova in the Cadillac, and then our one DNF driver, one in the Mercedes, retiring and finishing the race in P8. I need to start taking notes about how to conserve your tires, because that was pretty much a good example of how to make sure that your tires absolutely go the whole distance that you want it to. And I do think Alex was watching the stream and wanted to toy with me a little bit. I respect it. I respect a little bit of toying around. But absolutely a great race to all the drivers. GG's all around. And I hope that we see all of these drivers once again. As I said before, if you guys want to join this league, go ahead and do !Vortex. You guys can join through the Discord link there. It should be working. I did update it. So that link should be working if you guys are interested in joining this league. And then if you guys are interested in joining my server, go ahead and do !Discord. You guys can join there. And if you guys are interested as well, as I said before, the big announcement is that my new show, YouTube show, Radio Check, is now live on YouTube. You guys want to do !YouTube, you guys can go ahead and join there and watch it at episode 1 is currently live now. Episode 2 will go live tonight, so be sure to check that out. That is going to do it for us here in Vortex Racing League Tier 2. What a crazy race, especially considering that so many different drivers pulled off the one stop. Just was definitely not what I was expecting to see or expecting what was going to happen, but absolutely I was all here for it. I was here for it, but we will see how these drivers will fare in next week's race as I go ahead and make sure that I have the right thing. Next week will be Austria, in which we had a fantastic Austria race in Tier 1, so I cannot wait to see what Austria will look like for Tier 2. That is going to be it for me. I have been your commentator and host, GameHawk, and I hope you guys are all going to have a great day or a great night wherever you guys are in the world, and I will see you tomorrow for some Tier 1 action, and it is a 100% race at Belgium. Don't go anywhere from that. Check that out tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. EST, and I will see you there once again, and I hope that you guys will be there too. Have a great day or a great night wherever you guys are in the world, and I will see you tomorrow.
Dying to know where you came from. We're breaking open. Feel like your future's just begun. And all I know is that we lost time. If we stay right here, we could free ourselves inside.